This is episode number 4 of Two Grown-Ups and a Mouse with AJ and Andrew. And today we will be talking about the top 7 ways, yes, 7 ways to save money at Walt Disney World.
Everything Disney, in and out of the house. Two grown-ups and a mouse.
Hi there, this is AJ.
This is Andrew.
And you are listening to Two Grown-Ups and a Mouse. You should subscribe.
Absolutely.
Unless you have already.
Well, then, thank you.
Then you don't need to subscribe because you already did.
Right. That would be repetitive.
A little.
Or you could subscribe in 2 places. But you don't need to do that, so.
Well, you can subscribe to your podcast. Oh, I guess depending on where you're listening to the podcast, you can.
Right. Subscribe in multiple places.
And follow us.
Yep.
Not like on the street or anything in social media. That'd be better.
Yeah. Well, if you see us on the street, you can say hi.
Well, of course.
You don't need to say, don't need to follow us.
No.
That'll be creepy.
We don't need stalkers.
No.
But we are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Two Grown-Ups and a Mouse. We do have a website. You can listen to the podcast there if it's easier. Two Grown-Ups and a Mouse.com. You got it. So today shows a little different format than we've been doing. We are going to talk about the top 7 ways to save money at Walt Disney World.
Yep.
It was going to be 10.
It was.
Everybody does 10.
Yeah. So we'll do 7.
7's one of our lotto numbers.
That's a very lucky number.
It is a lucky number.
Yeah.
So is 13.
I was born on the 13th, so.
See? So it's a lucky number, or not. I mean, it's a lucky number.
How rude.
I would never.
Rude, I say.
So we compiled a list based on things we read online and other people's lists. And, you know, if we agreed with it, then we included it. That's where we came up with it. Kind of off the top of our heads from the list. Stuff like that.
Yeah, just a smattering. It's all the usual. If you've seen one of these lists, you've seen probably all of the lists. So, but we'll go into a little more detail and add some of our own thoughts because sometimes those lists are not correct or don't give you the full picture.
Plus, we digress.
Probably too much.
Well, what were we talking about?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. We should probably get back to that then.
Yep.
So, what is the number one way to save money at Disney, in your opinion? Actually, these aren't really in order, so I shouldn't say that. Retract, back up, start over. What is one of these 7 ways that's the best way, one of the best ways to save money at Disney?
Well, start at the beginning. Get a cheaper ticket.
Well, yeah. You know what? We have notes. We take notes. We're nerds. We want to make sure to give you the best information possible. And I just realized when it comes to tickets, we've forgotten an option for getting tickets. Not something we prefer to do, but something that many people do. Mm-hmm. You know what it is?
No.
Timeshare.
That's true.
I totally forgot about that.
We almost did that.
No, it is a viable way to get tickets.
Sure.
I mean, I can't vow for any of the timeshare properties that offer tickets. You know, I'm sure there are shady ones, but there are good ones.
Sure.
Or we did do a timeshare sell once, a pitch once, and we got cash.
Yeah.
So,
they're going to feed you some food. It's not going to be great food. They're going to give you some soda, some coffee, some water.
Right.
So it's not all bad. And you're probably going to go tour a nice little resort.
Right. So if you have the time.
Sure.
In your stay, then that is definitely an option. You can go do a timeshare pitch and hopefully either get tickets or get money to spend on your tickets. You know, there are a lot of benefits to doing those pitches. Plus, sometimes people like to do them just to break up their trip.
Sure.
Gives them something to do. But that is a way to save money on tickets.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you want to talk about the how to save money on tickets?
Well, I can start. If you don't have an annual pass.
Why would someone not have an annual pass?
Well, maybe they don't go often enough to make it pay for it. So.
I know. I'm just teasing.
Yeah. Well,
probably making a few people jealous.
Probably.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Not trying to. I was just teasing.
It was. That's very mean. Don't be mean to the viewers.
I'm so... What? Wait, what?
Exactly.
No. What did you say?
Don't be mean to the viewers.
What'd you say?
Yeah. Well, maybe they're staring at their phone while they listen. See?
I would call them listeners.
Well, you say potato, I say tomato.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay. So the more days you buy, the more days you save?
Sure. Is that smoke or fire?
The more days you buy,
The more days you save?
oh yeah. Okay, that was close. The more you save.
That's correct. Even all the way down to the point, if you're buying 10 days out or something, the daily price of a ticket drops down into the $40 range, mid $40 range, somewhere in there.
Do you know how much a 1-day ticket is?
Well, it depends on the park. Magic Kingdom costs a little more. I think both of them are over $100 now.
For the most part, that they range between about 100 and 120-ish.
Right.
Those aren't the exact numbers, but you can always go to WaltDisneyWorld.com and you can get the exact breakdown. You can see what's going to be best for you, for your trip, for how many days you're staying.
Right.
But like Andrew said, the more days you have in there, it'll trickle down. Right. But when you buy the days individually, you don't automatically get the park hopper option.
Correct.
You have to pay additionally for that. And you cannot just add, if I'm correct, if they haven't changed it, you cannot add the park hopper for 1 day, 2 days. You have to add the park hopper for the number of days that you buy tickets for.
I think that's correct.
So if you buy a 5-day pass, you're going to need to buy a park hopper for 5 days.
Right.
Once you add those numbers together, your daily amount and your park hopper option, if that's something you want to do, then it might become feasible, as expensive as it is, to get an annual pass.
It might. I mean, you just have to sit down and work it out based on what you get versus what you're giving up. And there's a lot of side benefits to an annual pass. There's merchandise discounts.
Which they could take away at any time, and they have hinted at that in the past. But I think that they know now that's a big perk. That's a big reason a lot of people buy the tickets. So I don't know that they would take it away, but it has fluctuated.
It has fluctuated. I don't think it's something they would take away, but I think it would be something that they could bring down, even to the point where maybe it isn't a big deal anymore. Maybe they bring it down to 5% as a discount instead of 10% or 20% or whatever it's been.
Well, right now it's 20%.
Right.
Previously, it was quite a few years ago, because it has been pretty stable at 20% for a while now. They used to do, if you had a premium pass,
right,
premium annual pass, or the premier passport, the one that you can use on both coasts, then you got 20% off if you had one of those higher level passes. And then for lower level passes, you got 10%.
Right.
Then at some point they opted to bring it up to 20% for everybody.
Correct.
That is an annual pass holder. So, and then some of the annual passes come with a free memory maker. And that can be quite expensive.
Well, that's basically Photo Pass.
Correct.
So anywhere you see a Disney employee taking photos, you just go in and have them scan your Magic Band, and you get free pictures.
Right.
And you can download them, and they make cute videos and add extra stuff to them. That's a big perk. I mean,
well, even if
we never used to use it, and now we use it all the time.
Even if you don't have an annual pass, you can still use the PhotoPass photographers. You can go to any PhotoPass photographer. That is a tongue twister, and have them take your picture. However, in your My Disney Experience account, which is where you would access those photos, there would be a watermark on them if you do not have Memory Maker or the Memory Maker associated with your pass.
Right.
So don't feel that, oh my God, I don't have a pass, so there's no reason for me to take pictures. I didn't get the Memory Maker, because you can still have your picture taken. There will be a watermark on it, unless you go in, you see the picture, you say, I like it, and you purchase the picture.
Right.
Either digitally or the different variations that you can get it. And then, it'll have been worthwhile for you to have taken those pictures, because who knows? Maybe you take a lot of pictures, you don't really like it. It's not really worth it for you to add it on. Maybe you take the pictures and you love them.
Right.
And you say, I want to get them.
Right.
But the annual passes if I read the numbers correctly, for someone who is not a Florida resident or a DVC, Disney Vacation Club member, it would probably run between $7.29 and $8.29 for an annual pass for an adult.
Right.
And you would have to get I want to say it's the Gold Pass or higher. Might even be the one above that. Florida residents have more leniency, more options for the types of passes they can get. Florida residents also have the option of paying over time.
Right.
There's a payment plan, interest-free. They just automatically charge your whatever card that you put on the contract. And that's what you and I do. Right. Instead of saying, here, Disney, here's our money. Well, we always do that. We always say, here, Disney, here's our money. But I'm talking about for passes.
Right.
When it comes to the passes, we do the monthly payment plan. It works for us. And it is 0% interest level.
Right. Yeah, it's basically. And then what are some of the other perks on a pass? The other big one that we actually don't make use of because we have something else that's on this list, but there are dining discounts.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of the dining locations will give you 10%, 20% off of your meal. It probably does not include booze. It usually doesn't. But still, I can save you a decent amount of money.
Oh, yeah. Anything that you can get that you're already paying for, you're paying for a pass. They're giving you a discount for having this pass. Use your discount.
Sure.
And then it was funny because you and I went to a restaurant a few weeks ago at Disney. And you asked if they took the other thing on the list.
Right.
And they said yes. And I said, oh. And do you remember what you said to me?
Yeah. Never hurts to ask.
Because I always say that to you. So it was ironic that I was like, no, they're not going to take it.
Right.
And you said, you always tell me it never hurts to ask.
Yeah. You should always ask. Because the worst they're going to say is no.
I should listen to my own advice.
And Disney employees are pretty good about if you can get a discount, they're going to say yes, not just. And they'll list and a lot of times they'll list all the different ways you can get a discount if you're DVC or if you're a pass holder or whatever. But I think that's a pretty good breakdown. Buy more days, save, or work out the price difference on getting a pass.
And like
a season pass.
An annual pass.
Or an annual pass.
If you're a Florida resident, you can get one that's, they don't even call it a season pass anymore.
No.
But it's the equivalent of what used to be a seasonal pass.
Right. Right.
So yeah, you can go ahead and get the pass. And then what we did not really talk about was if you have a pass, you do get free parking.
On some of them.
Some of them, yeah. Not all of them. But the free parking is nice as well.
Well, if you have your own vehicle and you don't want to use Disney transportation, then, what's parking up to now? $22, $24 a day? So
it's not 25?
It might be 25.
It's over 20.
Oh, yeah.
Parking is over $20
it's definitely
a day.
over 20. So, on a 5-day trip, you're going to save yourself $100.
Well,
how does that work on your...
Well, unless you're staying at a resort.
If you stay at a resort, you still get parking.
And
but if you stay off property, then...
Well, if you stay off property, that's different. But if you stay at a Disney resort, they have implemented parking fees.
That's true.
So you have to weigh the pros and the cons.
Sure.
It's something to think about. It's food for thought.
Yep.
But let's move on to something else. Let's move on to another way to save money at Walt Disney World. Deals. I love deals.
Closeouts.
Sales.
Yeah.
Clearance.
Yeah, you're like the Terminator though, because you can spot that little red tag from across the store, and then you just sort of float over and see it. Yeah,
I think some people might not realize that Disney does put items on clearance. They might not even have ever realized it, but at least right now, when Disney puts something on sale, it's been few and far between I've ever seen them have like a sale where they're like, oh, come in, you save 10% or whatever.
Well, they do. You remember that, and they do this usually in slower times, so you probably won't see this in the summer.
They do it in the holidays.
Well, I don't know if they do it.
If you're talking about what I'm thinking about,
right? Well, we're talking about the same thing where you're going to go eat somewhere on Disney property, and then when you look at your receipt, it's going to say save X% if you go to whatever Disney.
Usually it's World of Disney.
Right, it's World of Disney. Well, it's World of...
There's like 4 stores.
It's any of the... What's the best way to put it? It's any of the big stores
right
in the parks or at Disney Springs. So it's World of Disney, it's Mouse Gears, it's
right.
The Emporium.
I don't think I've seen that since last year. It probably was a few weeks, like in December.
I think they only do it during the very slowest periods of time during the year, which... we'll cover in a different podcast, but it's just another way for them to entice people to spend money. So
Right. So you can look.
sure.
Never hurts to double check when you have a receipt. Look on the receipt and see if there is a.
The other big one was
coupon.
is that you had to do it before noon.
Yeah, but most people aren't like us. Most people, when they go to the parks, they wake up early. They want to do everything. They want to get as much bang for their buck.
Sure.
You and I go up there and we want to sleep.
Yeah,
We're on vacation.
that's right. I
Sleep
don't want to
in
get
a-
up early.
No. Sleep in a little bit, then go do our Disney stuff. But
Right.
a lot of people don't mind. They're up early anyway.
Oh yeah.
So, but it's still, it's worth it if you're buying something anyway and you don't
Right.
have a pass and you don't have a discount. It's worth it to utilize that
Sure.
discount code that they give you. But I don't think I finished talking about those clearance
Right.
tags. A lot of people might not realize that Disney does put things on clearance on occasion. And what you were saying, the red tag, it's a white price tag with a red trim.
Right.
So it does stand out. You can see the red tag. You and I were at Epcot relatively recently. It was
Right.
just a week or two ago. And the 35th anniversary was almost a year ago now. It was October 1st of last year.
Yep.
It was their 35th anniversary. They had 35th merchandise for the anniversary.
Sure.
So they put a lot of that merchandise on clearance.
Right. Well, it's getting close to October 1st the next year. So 35 years ago, they had already been open for a year. So
Right. But
it's time for them to clear it out.
it was like we went over to a section at the front of World Showcase. What is that? The passport.
Yeah. I don't remember.
The store is right.
It's East and West something.
Yeah, it's at the bridge. Right at the end of the bridge when you're going into World Showcase. That was the stores, and I noticed one red tag, and then realized that other merchandise in the area also had the red tag.
Yeah.
So it's good to look for deals at the parks, and also
So for some surefire times is the last weekend of any special event. So we're going to have food and wine coming up. So most things dated will get.
yes and no. You know what I've seen a lot more of? We've talked about how we live close to an outlet, a Disney, a certified Disney outlet,
Right.
not just, a store claiming I have Disney merchandise.
Right.
They sell park merchandise it's the Disney Character Premiere.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that in lieu of putting everything up for sale at the parks, they're taking quantities of the leftover items out of the parks and distributing them to the outlets.
Right.
Now, the outlets up in Orlando, we're in Fort Lauderdale, but the outlets in Orlando get more
Sure.
of this merchandise. The outlet in Fort Lauderdale, not so much, but still great deals and great, I was just at our outlet earlier today, maybe. I might have been there, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. So they, while I was there, actually I purchased, you might have seen me at the refrigerator. I was putting magnets on the fridge. And that was from this year.
Mm-hmm.
This year?
2018?
Yeah. It would have been this year. Yeah, I was thinking it was food and wine. I was confusing myself. It was the
Flower
2018 Flower and Garden,
Right.
which was April, May, June.
Right.
Now we're in August.
Right.
So I bought a set of 5 magnets. They were small magnets, but still a set of 5 magnets for $1.99.
Right.
And that I purchased at the outlet. So yes, you are correct. They do discount the stuff at the parks, but I've seen them sending more and more merchandise.
Well, Disney's pretty good about that whole merchandising thing. So I'm figuring because the discount in the stores that we've seen at Disney isn't as great, or is usually greater than what is in the outlet store. So maybe they're figuring, well, instead of marking this down 50%, I'll mark it down 40% and put it in the outlet store. And then also you see them locally instead of down here because it's just that much further to ship it. So
If people don't know, those outlet stores are pretty close to the Disney parks. So even if you do not have your own transportation, if you opted to use Magical Express or some other mode of transportation to get from however you traveled in,
right.
then you can take an Uber, a Lyft. Those will be less expensive. You could take a taxi. It'll be a little more expensive.
Sure.
And you can go to either of the outlets. Neither of them is that far. There are 2 in the Orlando area.
Right.
One is in the Vineland outlets.
Right.
And the other one is on International. drive.
And the Vineland outlets are 2 or 3 miles just outside of the Disney property. It's very close, so an Uber would not cost you hardly anything.
Yeah, I think that one's definitely closer. It's also a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
But the International Drive, they do keep merchandise in the back, so they still have a great selection, and they have a differing selection.
Yeah.
So which is really nice. Those are the Simon Premium Outlet Malls. That's what they're called, the Simon Premium Outlet Malls. They are those outdoor shopping.
Right.
There's a little bit of an overhang, but
it's a very popular shopping style in Florida.
Right. Well, no, but you have to be prepared because it does rain a lot in Florida, so you might get wet.
Yep.
Because it's not like a mall where you can walk through the mall and once you're in the mall you're dry. There are plenty of big overhangs, but you still risk getting wet more so than if you were shopping inside of a mall.
Right.
So let's move on to the best time to visit.
Sure.
Which can help save you money.
Well, it can. It's cheaper to fly and cheaper to get hotels and cheaper to get everything when you're traveling off season.
What's off season?
Well, in Orlando, it's anytime that's not summer or a major holiday.
But Disney has gotten better about making those seem like season.
Well, all these events are there meant to get more people in, but there's still some really good times. But even during these events, it's generally much less busy, and it's at a cheaper rate than normal, or in the middle of summer or holidays.
Right. You said that mid-November through mid-December is a little less expensive.
Well,
you didn't say it. You have it on our notes that
right.
It's less expensive, but they do have the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, which
true.
has become quite popular.
It has, but I don't know if it's enough to really bring that many extra people. But it's generally that they always say the deadest period is the time between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and then about a week after the New Year into early February is always the deadest time of the year.
Well, less busy.
Well,
they might still be
yeah,
busy,
you can't use the word dead anymore because it's still quite busy.
Yeah,
at the parks.
They find events, they find things to do to attract you, so that you say, "Oh, let's go to Disney. It's not going to be so busy," and then it turns out to be a little bit busy. Or Disney seems to be quite popular with Brazilians. They get a lot of Brazilian guests at the parks. They do a lot of tour groups, and you can see, they'll carry flags so everyone can find them, and you'll see the little Brazilian flag on there. So, and I believe that isn't there one of their breaks in February?
Well, it's in Brazil. It's the middle of summer,
right? So
in January, February. So, people are out of school. It's the time when people go on vacation. So,
right.
And then they come to Disney because it's only a few hour flight. So,
I mean, I don't want to use the word worst because I don't want to be negative, but it also depends on what you are looking for. The park is the busiest the week before and after spring break. The week before and after Easter, basically, because depending on the school district, on the part of the part of the country, some people give their spring break before Easter, some give spring break after Easter. And I remember years ago when I was in school, it wasn't even attached to Easter. Right. It might have been like a week before that, but a lot of people will be at the parks the week before or the week after spring break. The other one is from Christmas through New Year's, that period, because the kids are already out of school, so you don't have to take your kids out of school. Mm-hmm. And, or you get your vacation days or your holidays pay from work for Christmas, day after Christmas, depending on where you work. New Year's Day, so you can use less vacation time. What ends up happening is the parks end up to be the busiest. Seem to be the busiest time of the year. Sure. Summer is very busy because people have off from anywhere from May or June 1st through the end of August, beginning of September. So June, July, August are very busy. However, it gets spread out a little bit more
It does.
You know, I mean, you can get lucky. You can go there and it might just happen to be a slower week.
Right.
Or you can go there and it could be one of the busiest weeks, but you never really know until you get there. So just keep those ideas in mind, not necessarily for the cost aspect, but just to keep it in mind. You know, if you want to go and you want to have less lines or you want to do more, you know, have more things available, it's just things to keep in mind when you're planning your trip. But
the my last hint on figuring out the busiest times: do a Google search and look for the points chart for a DVC property, because the points chart is based on the time of the year. So in January, February, it's less points to stay at a DVC property. You might not be DVC, but because it's less points, it's generally less busy. So you'll see when you look at that chart that, you know, this is a busy time. Oh, it's summer. It's.
That's another way to save, and I don't even think it's on our list. You can rent DVC points. Sure. You don't have to be a DVC member to stay out at a DVC property. There are a few out there. I'm not recommending any of them because I don't know any of them. I'm just mentioning one that sticks in my head. I believe is David's DVC Rentals. It's a name that I've heard thrown around sometimes.
Just do a Google on
Disney DVC
on DVC or buying DVC points.
But that's a good way to save money, and you can get a bigger resort typically
or a bigger room, because right now if you don't have DVC. You could stay at a normal hotel room, or you can stay at a DVC on a dollar basis, not as a DVC member. But, you know, if you're a family and you want to have a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom type place, you're going to pay a lot of money for one of those rooms. Whereas you might be able to buy a certain amount of points for a stay, and you can save some money.
Yeah, that's a really good way to save money. You know how else you can save money?
How?
Food.
I don't know. It's always expensive to eat at Disney.
I was going to say, I don't know about you and I, because we eat a lot of food.
We do. And we tend to eat at some of the nicer places in Disney.
But we still save money.
We do.
And one of the tips for saving money is get a kid's meal.
Yeah.
They're pretty good.
They are.
I get them a lot.
You do. And the bigger secret is the nicer the restaurant, the nicer the kid meals get.
That's true.
Because your kid's meal at Yachtsman Steakhouse is really good.
We go to Yachtsman frequently enough, relatively frequently. We've been going more to Disney Vero Beach. Right. So we haven't gone to Yachtsman as often as we used to. But we still like the restaurant. We still try and get over there, whenever we can. And I love the fillets. I still love the fillets. They're great. They are, for argument's sake, $50 and come with a side. Yep. The menu might have changed a little, the price might have changed, but for a fillet, it's about $50 for the steak and the side. And I love it. But if I get the lobster bisque soup, which I really enjoy, or, maybe you and I might get the cheese appetizer or something else. Right. So by the time the steak comes, sometimes I'm full. Right. Or, we used to really like the truffle mac and cheese. Right. So it was like getting the truffle mac and cheese and the lobster bisque, and it was a lot of food. Sure. So then I think it was our server who recommended just get a kid's meal. Right. And that was somewhere between $12 and $15. Yep. And it was a steak, and it came with the vegetable.
It came with a vegetable or a potato. The mashed potatoes. And the mashed potatoes, to me, taste exactly the same. They say they're different, but they taste the same. And you probably got... Yachtsman does 8-ounce and 10-ounce fillets, I believe. And you probably got about 4 to 5 ounces, I would say, in that kid's meal.
It was a skewer, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a skewer with 3 big chunks of... And it tasted like tenderloin to me because it didn't really have any fat in it, so...
No, it was good. It was really enjoyable, and it was literally a third the price. Right. So, that's a great example of getting a kid's meal, but that's not the only time I've gotten kids' meals. No. I like at Hollywood Studios at ABC Commissary. They have a nice little tuna sandwich there. Not tuna, excuse me. I say tuna because it used to be on Pepperidge Farm a fish bread. Mm-hmm. So that's why I was thinking tuna, but a turkey sandwich.
Right.
I don't know that they still serve it on the fish bread because they didn't the last time we were there. But that was a sandwich, 2 sides, like, grapes and a cookie or an apple, 2 sides, and a small kid's drink. So I get the small water.
Sure.
For the kids' meal price, which was somewhere between $7 and $8, I want to say.
Yeah, it's probably 20 or 30% less than an adult meal.
Yeah, versus between $10 and $12 typically.
Well, and it's
just for the meal, not including a drink.
Just for the meal, not including the drink, right?
For an adult.
So it might actually be more like 40% cheaper. So
yeah, it's a great value.
Right. Especially if you don't. It's especially true if you don't want to eat all the food that would come in an adult meal as well, because we see a lot of people that will get a normal, quote unquote, adult meal and throw half of it away or a quarter of it away or whatever. So.
Well, that leads to the next item.
Right.
Share.
Well, that's true.
You could, kind of like we said earlier, you can always ask about a discount. The worst they're going to say is no. Mm-hmm. Same kind of thing. You can always go back and order more food.
Sure.
So,
order a dessert.
Right. Get it. Well, and you and I do, even as big as we are, we like to share.
Sure.
We share the nachos at Epcot in Mexico.
Right.
Great meal. About $10. Mm-hmm. And we don't even share it because we're worried about saving the money necessarily, though it's nice because that gives us money to spend on other items.
Right.
We do it because it's a lot of food. So we go ahead and share the nachos, and we end up saving money because of it. So that's a great way to save some money. So you can eat the kids' meals. Mm-hmm. You can share the meals.
Yep.
Or what you were implying earlier.
Yep.
You can
get a Tables of Wonderland card.
Not everybody can.
No, unfortunately.
Yeah. You have to be a Florida resident, a DVC member, or a pass holder.
Correct.
And then you can purchase a Tables of Wonderland card, which at the moment is $150.
Right.
It's only good for one person. If you lose the card, there is a $50 replacement fee.
Yep.
Because I have a feeling that people were like, oh, I lost my card, and giving it to their friends. So to prevent that from happening, they do charge a $50 replacement fee.
Right.
You save 20% at select restaurants.
Yep.
If it is a table service restaurant versus quick service, if it is table service, they will add an 18% gratuity.
Right.
Unfortunately, one time out of the years that we've had this, one time we had really poor service.
Right.
And all we did was we went to the manager, we explained it to them, and they did take that gratuity off because we still gave a tip. We would never go without leaving a tip. But unfortunately, and it was unfortunate because we do like to tip people well, whenever I used to have a position where I worked for tips, so it's very important to me.
Sure.
But this particular person was not deserving of the 18%, and we had it adjusted. So you can have it adjusted. Hopefully you won't have to do that.
Right.
Hopefully you'll say, I want to add more.
Sure.
So it is a great program. And you also mentioned that you can save money with the pass holder discount. Mm-hmm. However, the pass holder discount is not good on alcohol.
Right.
When you can go to the pass holder page, it'll tell you what restaurants you can save the 10 or 20% at, but it will say does not include alcohol.
Right.
Tables of Wonderland does.
Yep.
So that's a really, really great way to save money if you're eligible for it, if you're going to be there often enough.
Well, it's another one of those things where you have to sit and kind of calculate it out. What am I going to spend? What do I think I'm going to spend? For us, it's easy. We know we spend a certain amount of money on food. So for us, it's still a no-brainer. If it's your first time, maybe you'll skip it this time and you'll wait and see maybe next time.
We also tend to go to places like Yachtspin Steakhouse, like the Disney Vero Beach. I was going to say DVC or DVB for Disney Vero Beach, the Wind and Waves restaurant.
Right.
So we do frequent table service restaurants a lot, and we make sure to get use out of our Tables of Wonderland.
Well, that was one of the things that brought us to it initially. Also, was back then with the discount that we got from a Tables of Wonderland with the Tables of Wonderland card with the discount, the amount was not that much different than what you get at a counter service, but you always get just that much better food.
You're talking about we could go to Sci-Fi
Right.
at Hollywood Studios, for example.
Sure.
Both get a burger plate and both get a drink.
Right.
And with the Tables in Wonderland discount, it would end up about $35, give or take. $35 with, this was of course a few years ago, but
yeah, back then. But even today, it would probably be $40 or $50
with the discount.
Right.
Well, that's true. But back then it was like, between $30, $35
Right.
versus back then getting quick service and spending $20.
Yeah.
But like you're saying now would be $45, $50, but we just looked at, what was it? Not Casey's, at Cosmic Rays.
Yep.
And their quick service burger was $15, $14. Even at $14 to get 2 burgers and 2 drinks.
Right.
Is going to be about $35.
Yeah.
And that's for quick service.
Sure.
So it's worth it to spend $45 and get table service and sit in the cool air.
Well, yeah. I mean, and for us, we don't mind spending a little extra money just to get, and the quality food goes up that much more. Especially in the earlier days. Today, the food at most of the counter service has improved a lot.
Well, yeah. No, nowadays it's pretty good.
But even so, the food at the sit down restaurants is meant to be just that little bit better. So, the extra cost for us, because we enjoy the dining, that's where we spend extra money. So,
what I miss is the discount you used to get with Tables in Wonderland.
Well,
at the
Victoria and Albert's. Mm-hmm. Well, that would pay for the Tables in Wonderland in one sitting. So
we did that one year.
Yeah.
We literally bought a Tables in Wonderland card. I think the Tables in Wonderland was only 100 or 120 at that time, because this was a few years back that we went.
Well, when it first started, it was 75.
Right, so it was really inexpensive. Yeah. So, and then we went to Victoria and Albert's,
right,
and saved about that much. So, but unfortunately they do not take Tables in Wonderland at Victoria and Albert's anymore. Right, it's unfortunate, but I missed that. That was really a no-brainer.
I would pay for it right away. But even so, I mean, when we go to Yachtsman, the money we save, we'll save $30 or $40 on a meal, just that one meal. So, and then we go up and we probably save $20 to $30 every trip, I would guess. Maybe a little more.
Well, what's good is the general rule of thumb, but you have to go to tablesofwonderland.com to look at the actual list. So you'll have the updated list of participating restaurants. But the general rule of thumb is if a Disney resort has quick service and table service restaurants, you will not get the discount at their quick service.
Correct.
You will only get the discount at their table service.
Right.
But again, double check tablesofwonderland.com. Yeah. That will give you the list so that you can look at that before you decide to purchase it or not. Sure. If you're eligible to purchase it, you can look at that list and say, I'm going to eat here, here, and here. It might be worth it for me.
Right.
Everyone's different. But because we used to stay at the Valley Resorts often, almost all the Valley Resorts except Tables in Wonderland at their quick service.
Right.
Because they don't have sit-down restaurants at the Valley Resorts.
Right.
So.
And then the one, when we used to go to Port Orleans at French Quarter does not have a sit-down restaurant. So at the whatever Floatworks dining area, we got Tables in Wonderland there too.
Right. But since they've upgraded basically all of the quick service restaurants in the resorts, we don't necessarily have, we don't have to go to French Quarter. Plus, They don't really have your cheesesteak there anymore. But Contempo Cafe in the Contemporary has a really, really nice steak sandwich.
Yeah.
Did we find another one at Rick's Cafe in Coronado?
Yeah.
That was pretty good too.
Well, it's
a little more expensive, but
if you don't know, you can always look for French dip is basically a cheesesteak. You might have to ask for a couple different things off of it or on it than normal, but there's a few tricks to finding a good cheesesteak if they don't have a cheesesteak.
But that was why we went to the French Quarter so often, because you really enjoyed the cheesesteak there.
Right. Well, one of the cast members said they have a really good cheesesteak there, and they did.
Right. And then they changed it. It wasn't as good. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't as good. But as we said, most of the resorts have redone them, and you can find really good stuff at almost all of the resorts. Have a pretty good
it's
food court. Food, especially the quick service food.
Right.
All of the resorts is pretty good. So that's one way to save money. Save money on food. So we're up to number 5, by the way. Yep. This is the 5th way to save money.
Which we actually have never done.
Well, not never, but we don't make a concerted effort. It's my favorite because it involves shopping.
Well, that's true.
Buy discounted gift cards.
Right.
You can buy discounted gift cards at Sam's Club.
Yep.
Costco.
Mm-hmm. Well, we don't have a Costco membership, so I would assume they have them.
And BJ's.
I would assume.
I know you can. We haven't done it. And sometimes, and again, policies change, so what we're saying today may or may not be 100% accurate.
Right.
But sometimes you don't need a membership to order things online from the bulk stores like Sam's Club, BJ's, and Costco.
Right.
Or you can try going to Target if you have a Target Red Card. Mm-hmm. And because I think they say because it's entertainment, it qualifies for 5% off, because they stopped giving the discount with the Target Red Card on many gift cards.
Right.
However, certain gift cards, I want to say that they were like food and entertainment gift cards.
Right.
They do still apply their 5% discount.
It's worth looking at. Because it's a quick way just to lop 5% right off the top of any costs you get. It's also a nice way to budget. You can go to Target every couple of weeks when you get paid and buy a $50 gift card or a $100 gift card.
A lot of people do that.
Right.
What they used to do, and they discontinued it, was they had a Disney Vacation Club account.
Sure.
They don't have that anymore. It's unfortunate.
Oh.
But you could load gift cards to that. You didn't have to load cash. So people would stack their discounts.
Right.
They go buy discounted cards. I know some of the gas stations up north even had like better deals. It was like you get so many dollars off your gas or whatever by buying the gift cards. And then they would buy the Disney gift cards and apply them to the savings account.
Right.
And then when you hit $1,000 on the savings account, you would get $20 or a $20 gift card. So people used to stack their gift cards and discounts. Unfortunately, you can't do that anymore. But what you can do, which leads into number 6, actually, you can use, if you have a Chase Disney Visa, you can use your Chase Disney Visa to purchase the gift cards.
Right.
Or even to make purchases while you're at the parks.
Of course.
And you'll get either 1 or 2% back, depending on which card you have.
Right.
There is the free Disney Visa card.
Well, it's a no-fee card.
Yeah. Right. It might not be free for everybody. Or there is the Premier card, which does have an annual fee. Mm-hmm. However, you do get a higher percentage back.
Right.
And if you go to the parks and make Disney purchases frequently, as you and I might be prone to do, it might pay for itself. Well, within a month or two.
We worked it out, and we have the Premier card just for that reason. And then we also, not everybody can do this or should do it, but I mean, that's all up to you. But we transferred all of anything that we were paying on a monthly basis that we could put onto a credit card, we put onto our Chase Visa card.
Well, no, there was another reason I did that. Chase had a promotion.
Right.
And instead of giving 1 or 2%, they gave us 4% back.
Right.
On those bills. So our cable bill, our cell phone, and our car insurance get charged. And it's a win-win, because then I don't have to worry that the bill is going to get paid on time, because it always gets paid on time.
Right.
I just have to pay the credit card before it's due.
Sure.
But that's number 6, is getting the Disney Visa. You do have to be in the United States. They do not offer the visa outside of the United States, which is unfortunate. But when we say you get 1 or 2% back, it actually, it gives you 1 or 2% back in the form of Disney Rewards dollars.
Correct.
However, within the past couple of years, I want to say, you can now use them directly for airlines.
Right.
There's a way that you can, instead of having to go get a Disney gift card for, the Disney Reward dollar card from them and using that, you can actually just, you call them up and they'll do their magic.
Right.
And then you can use those rewards for airline flights.
Sure.
Which is another great thing.
Right.
But the Disney Rewards dollars, you basically order a card from them, or you can go pick one up at the parks. You have to activate it, put your rewards dollars on there. And you can use it towards almost anything at the parks where they accept gift cards.
Correct.
Because, for example, sometimes they'll be selling like the light up toys on Main Street or, whatever park you're in.
Right.
And some of those kiosks, which is weird to me, but they only accept cash.
Right.
Nowadays with technology and, being able to have the apps on the phones and the handheld devices, it's kind of unusual to me that they do that, but whatever. And in those cases, you wouldn't be able to use your Disney Visa rewards dollars. You would not be able to use those at those, freestanding carts.
Right.
But plenty of places at Disney that you can use that money.
Basically anywhere you can use a credit card, you're probably going to be able to use that Disney Rewards card.
And you don't have to use it at the parks.
No.
They accept it at DisneyShopping.com or physically at the Disney store or at the outlets that we were talking about.
Yep.
So there's a lot of different ways that you can use those funds.
Sure.
You're not limited. It's not like, oh no, I'm not going to be at Disney. And they give you plenty of time before the funds expire.
Oh, yeah.
So we have been accumulating Disney dollars because we like doing the Disney cruises.
Sure.
And a lot of people like to earn Disney dollars and then apply those towards cruises.
Right. Well, it's another way you can save with the card too. Is on most Disney vacations they'll give you 0% for 6 months. So the packages, and the Disney cruise is considered a package, right? So we buy a Disney cruise. We're going to get 0% for 6 months, so it gives us a little bit of time to pay it off, and then we're also going to earn, I think it's 2% back on for buying the cruise,
right? Because it's a Disney purchase.
And then often they're running a promotion where they'll give us like $100 onboard credit because we use Disney Visa. They used
to do that, but I think now it's just, I want to say it's a 10% discount on the cruise, on purchases made in the gift shops.
Right.
On the cruise. They did used to give an onboard credit.
Right.
I don't believe they do that anymore.
It probably just depends.
I mean, that's not even on our list if we're talking about cruises. A lot of people swear by using travel agents because there are travel agents that will give you onboard credits. But it depends on the travel agent. Not everybody can do that. It depends on how long your cruise is.
Sure.
There's a whole bunch of factors involved. But that is another way to save, in quotes, because you're not really saving. I mean, whether you book a Disney cruise through a travel agent or directly, you're going to get the same exact price.
Right.
But if you find a travel agent that's going to give you an onboard credit, you can consider that a savings. So a lot of people swear by some travel agents, and there are some really good ones out there. Just make sure if you do opt to use a travel agent for a Disney cruise or any Disney trip that you find one that really is familiar.
Right.
I was listening to a podcast, great little podcast about Disney. Really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, the people of the particular podcast I was listening to were talking about Disney cruises, and I was cringing because I'm like, that's not accurate. It wasn't that the information was false, but it wasn't accurate.
Right.
And these were people, one of them was a travel agent.
Right.
And I was like, I would be upset if I was using a travel agent that didn't know different aspects related to the cruise.
Sure.
So travel agents can be great, but just make sure that if you do opt to use a travel agent because you think that they're going to save you a little bit of money or give you something back, which is basically saving you money, then just make sure that you choose someone that is going to know about Disney and not just say, oh yeah, I do Disney.
Right.
You want a Disney certified travel agent. And on Facebook, there are a lot of great Disney groups, and you can a lot of the groups are run by travel agents,
Sure.
and the groups wouldn't be successful if the travel agents weren't very
Right.
good.
Well,
So that is a good way to find them.
sure.
So our last number 7 way to save a little bit of money,
Sure.
we don't use.
No. Well, we don't fly.
Well, that explains it.
Yep.
That explains a lot.
Sure.
But if you do fly in, you can use Disney Transportation, skip a rental car, and use Magical Express. Disney's Magical Express.
This is providing you're staying on property.
Well, yeah, that helps.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
They're not going to drop you off at the Holiday Inn.
Yeah, no.
No.
Yeah, that is kind of a requirement. But
Sure.
you can look up Disney's Magical Express. It'll give you all the details on what you need to do to qualify for Magical Express. Or when people are returning from the parks back to the airport,
Sure.
you know what it is? Tragical Express. It's no longer magical, it's tragical.
Well,
They're sad.
yep.
I'd be sad too.
Me too.
I never get too sad though when we leave Disney.
Well, because we're going to go right back. So
Yeah, pretty much.
yeah.
We were just there a week or two ago. But we're not going to be back at Walt Disney World probably until end of September, beginning of October. That'll probably be our next
Potentially.
Walt Disney World trip. Unless we change our minds, which being so close, we have the option of doing.
Sure.
But we are going to go to Disney Vero Beach
Yep.
just to eat.
$100 hamburger.
Drive up, eat, come home.
Yep.
Ta-da! How many people can do that?
Drive to a restaurant and come home. Probably most people.
Yeah, whatever. I like going to Disney Vero Beach.
It is a nice little place.
It's a nice little way to get some Disney magic.
Sure.
Spend some quality time together
Yep.
in the car. Or I can say, is that smoke or fire? And you can make fun of me for years and years.
That's not fair. That was only a year ago, so
I think it was longer than that.
I don't think so. I do have pictures, though, so we can check.
So on a future podcast, we're going to say, remember when AJ was talking about how Andrew made fun of her for smoke or fire and he thought it was only a year ago? Well, they found out. But Disney's Magical Express is magical. We see it a lot on what is that road? 417?
Yep.
You take 417
It's
and
the Airport Expressway.
it's a great road.
It is.
It's a really great road, but we do see the Magical Express, and I love the one for the cruise
Yep.
because it looks like little portholes.
Yeah.
And they do have the Magical Express available for cruises as
Right.
well. For Disney cruises outside of MCO, which is the code for the airport, for the
Right.
Orlando International Airport. It's M like Mary, C like carrot, O like orange, MCO. They do offer the Magical Express to Port Canaveral.
Right.
And we can't speak highly enough about cruises in Port Canaveral, and we'll have to talk about that on a future podcast.
I think so.
Because we don't really save money on the cruises. We spend a lot of money on the cruises.
Unfortunately.
No, fortunately, it's great.
Well, I guess. I enjoy it.
So do I. When are we going again?
I don't know. Someday. Soon.
Tomorrow?
No.
But that'd be fun. They have, the 3-day cruises or 3-night cruises out of Port Canaveral on the Dream go from Friday to Monday to tomorrow's Friday.
Sure.
We're recording this on a Thursday, so
Right.
tomorrow.
Well, are you packed?
Yeah,
Yeah. Really?
kind of.
No.
I always have a toiletry bag packed.
You're not packed. But you know what's most important?
You know what, though? We're talking about what is most important, and then I'll say what I was going to say.
We don't have tickets.
You don't need tickets to go on a cruise. You need to book the cruise. You call that a ticket? I don't call that a ticket. I just call it I booked a cruise.
So when you walk up, you say, here's my booking.
Okay. We didn't include this on our list because we were talking about the top 7 things at Walt Disney World, but
Top 7 ways to save money.
sorry. I apologize. I misspoke. But this is kind of number 8. Even though it's saving money on a cruise, not at Walt Disney World, but a lot of people like to do both. And it does save you money if you do have to fly in.
Sure.
And you can piggyback a cruise on a land trip or a land on a cruise trip. You're going to save money in transportation by doing it that way.
Right.
And let me add that if you do opt to do that, a lot of people recommend going to Disney World first because you run around and it's very high energy, and then go on your cruise to relax.
Sure.
But the money saving tip, other than piggybacking, doing them together so that you save on transportation, is if you are a Florida resident or in the military, the way they do their discounts is leftover rooms.
Right.
That, that's summing it up in layman's terms, basically.
Right.
It's 6 to 8 weeks before the cruise.
Give or take.
They become available.
Right.
I have heard in Facebook of people going to the port, and this is few and far between because you have to have your passport and you have to be approved. I mean, so I don't know if this is true or not. I'm just saying what I read, that someone was able to show up at the port and there was a room available, or a cabin available, and they got on. I'm not so sure how true that is, or if they would still let you do that with all of the...
It wouldn't surprise me because it doesn't... The requirements to go aren't really all that high, and it can easily be done when you're at the port. And then obviously for Disney, that port, that cabin was going to go empty.
Right. They want to make money.
So whatever they charge you is money they would not have made.
Right.
Plus whatever you're going to spend on board, which is really where they're going to make money.
And I've definitely read about a few people within a week or two. Right. They found these discounts. So if you are a Florida resident or a military, and they might even have other discounts available, but that's when they offer about 6 to 8 weeks before the cruises. That's when you'll start seeing them on the website. Right. The Florida resident rates and the military rates. You are not going to find a Florida resident rate for a cruise that is a year from now. No. You will find a Florida resident rate in an available room in a cruise that is a month from now.
Sure.
So that's pretty much it for our list.
Yeah. I think it's at least a start.
It's a pretty good list.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's other ways that people could save money.
I think so.
If you have good ways to save money at Disney and you want to share it with us, reach out.
Yeah.
Tell us.
Hit us up. Let us know. And we'll pass the information along to the rest of our listeners.
Well, we'll look at the information and try and verify it. And yes, I heard what you just said, but I'm ignoring you. We will do our best to verify the information you give to us, even though we're sure you're going to give us accurate information, because you don't want to pass on misinformation, and neither do we. That's why I have a lot of disclaimers in there. This is what I read. This is what I saw. This is what it used to be. We don't want to pass on any misinformation, just our experiences, what we remember. So, of course, we apologize if we said anything incorrectly. But if you want to pass on any information to us to pass on, reach out to us.
Sure.
Go on our website.
Yep.
Go on Twitter.
Facebook.
Instagram.
Yep. All of them.
Can't do it on the podcast though, right? You can't
No, there's no direct way.
No, you have to go to our website, which is
2 Grownups and a Mouse.
.com.
Yep.
Or go to Facebook.
2 Grownups and a Mouse.
Or Twitter.
2 Grownups and a Mouse.
Or Instagram.
2 Grownups and a Mouse.
Do you think they'll remember?
I don't know. Maybe.
Did they subscribe?
Well, they can follow us on Facebook. They can follow us on Instagram. They can follow us on Twitter.
And they can subscribe. That's also a tongue twister. I have a lot of tongue twisters today.
Well,
a lot of tongue twisters today. That's a tongue twister.
You subscribe to the podcast.
Well, subscribe if you haven't already.
Yeah, absolutely.
We would love to have you.
Sure.
But now it's time to go.
Yep.
So we should say good night.
Or good morning.
Or good afternoon.
How about just goodbye?
Okay.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Bye.